Today I am dishing on the top 7 things that you need to stop doing on your Instagram stories. Seriously, these are the biggest mistakes that I see when I'm going through my stories, and I just want to let you know how you can improve to make your Instagram stories way better. Keep on watching. Hey, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Katie Steckly, and here on YouTube I love to share my best social media and content creation tips and tricks. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. I upload twice a week, and I wouldn't want you to miss a single one. So I'll admit we all have our individual pet peeves when it comes to stuff we see on social media that we don't think is quite hitting the mark, but today I want to share with you 7 things that I see pretty consistently that are so easy to fix, and once you do, it will really improve the quality of your Instagram stories, make them more professional looking, make them more likely to be engaged with, and just generally make your account more high quality. So with that being said, let's dive into number 1. Posting non-9x16 photos without a different background. So of course we all know that if you go to post an image to Instagram that you just took in your iPhone camera app or whatever, it's not going to be the full size of the screen. And so, like I'm showing right here, if you go to upload that, it's going to have this sort of gradient color background that Instagram auto-generates based on the colors in your image. Now this is like fine, but to me it looks really unpolished. It's clearly just auto-generated by Instagram, and I think that it is so easy to up-level this to make it look a little bit more polished and a little bit more consistent with your brand. So what I would recommend doing instead is hop into Instagram, take any kind of random photo, then select a color with the pen tool, tap and hold on the screen until the screen is filled in with whatever background color you've chosen, then go to your camera roll, select the photo that you were going to post, copy it, pop back into Instagram, and then paste it as a sticker. Now you can expand it and make it fill the screen as much as you want, and if it wasn't 9x16 to begin with, at least now you have a background that you like. Alternatively, if you want to be a little bit more creative, you can go onto a website like Pexels or Unsplash, where they have royalty-free images that you can download for free from their website. You can find something that has some kind of pattern or background that you like, save that image, upload it to your Instagram story as the picture, and then use the copy and paste method to bring in the photo that you really wanted to post. So then you have some kind of interesting pattern background instead of just that color gradient that Instagram auto-generates. This is a small change to make, and it really makes a big difference in making your stories come across as more intentional and polished. Mistake number 2, putting interactive features too close to the edge of the screen. This is something that I see pretty often when people are starting to use the stickers and engagement features that Instagram has in stories, which is awesome. It's so important that you use those. If you haven't started yet, I really encourage you to. Stuff like polls, question boxes, quizzes, countdowns, all of that fun stuff really increases the engagement of your stories, but it's important that you don't put it too close to the left or right of the screen or to the bottom. If you put your poll too close to the edge of the screen, what you're going to do is have people either go back in your story or skip out of your story rather than actually voting. Because with the way stories works, skipping forward or skipping back, that action is going to supersede the interactivity of your poll. So that layer is sort of on top of whatever your story is, if you can think about it that way. If that sounds too complicated to you, don't worry about it. Just make sure that any interactive feature is closer to the center of the screen so that you aren't having people accidentally skip your story instead of actually interacting with whatever sticker you used. The same goes for the bottom of the screen. Somebody might be trying to tap on a poll and all it's going to let them do is respond to your story. So just make sure that whatever stickers you use are actually usable by your viewer. Mistake number 3, not responding to your DMs. The beautiful thing about Instagram stories is that if people have something to say to you, they can so easily tap on the respond to story button at the bottom of the screen and send you a direct message. If you don't already know, I really believe that DMs are one of the best ways that you can connect with your followers. You can check out this video that I made all about why DMs are so important with growing your community, but just know that it's important to respond to people who take the time out of their day to reach out to you. So if you're getting responses to your Instagram stories and you aren't at least responding to them by liking that message, I would really encourage you to think about how you can engage with your followers a little bit more, because if somebody reaches out to you and never gets a response, they're way less likely to ever DM you or really interact with your content again. So just keep that in mind and make sure to stay engaged with your followers. The fourth mistake I see a lot is making text way too big or way too small. In general, it's important that you try to keep the principles of design in mind as you're creating your stories. Instagram stories are kind of like a mini graphic design project, so you want to make sure that your text is readable and it looks good, but so often I see Instagram story amateurs making the text just huge across the entire screen, and it doesn't look good. It looks a little bit juvenile to people. It looks less professional. So just think about the sizing of your text when you're doing that. Like, make sure, of course, it's big enough to read, but think about maybe aligning it to the left or right or centering it, making it like a reasonable size of text. As a rule of thumb, you can think about like, how big does my username show up in the top left-hand corner? That's still readable. So if your text is that size or a little bit bigger, people are definitely still going to be able to see it, and it's not going to come across as like huge Comic Sans, like kids TV show kind of words. If you find that you struggle a little bit with what looks good on an Instagram story, because not all of us have a natural inclination towards design, what I would recommend doing is looking at some of your favorite Instagrammers, watching their stories, and taking some notes on what you like about their stories. And try to look at it with a very critical eye and a fine-tooth comb. Like, say, you know what, I really like that she always uses the typewriter text with a black background, left justified in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Like, I think that looks really good. It's a good position to read it from. That's the kind of specificity that you can come up with that will then help you get better at your own design. For people that are a little bit more artistically minded, or just kind of like, I know that this looks good, then it's very easy to kind of come up with your own designs. But if you find that that connection isn't being made in your brain, just go out and specifically seek out those small little details that other Instagram people are doing, and then try to replicate them in your own stories. The fifth mistake I see a lot of is doing too many of the same post in a row. So for example, if I see 3 boomerangs in a row, I'm gonna get really bored and probably skip right through them. The same thing goes if there's way too many images or way too many videos in a row. I personally think the best way to make an Instagram story is to have lots of variety. In general, my aim is to post 4 to 5 times a day on my Instagram story. It definitely doesn't always happen, I will admit that, but that kind of gives me a structure for, I know how frequently I want to post, and then within those 4 posts, I think 2 can be photos, 1 could be a video, 1 could be a boomerang, and I try to switch up the order so that there's a little bit of variety. People get bored really fast if they see the same kind of thing too many times in a row, so just really focus on trying to deliver that variety. Mistake number 6, talking to the camera without writing any kind of captions or subtitles for your videos. I am so surprised at the number of people who are still doing this, because listen to me, let's all say it together. 90% of users are not listening to the audio. Remember that, it is so important. And just think about your way of consuming Instagram stories. How often do you listen to Instagram stories and listen to the audio? Like maybe 1 out of 10 times that you're looking at stories, right? That's the truth for everybody else too. So it's so important that you include some kind of textual indication of what you're talking about, or else people are going to automatically skip over your entire story and not just tap to the next frame, but actually swipe through and not even watch it, because there's no point in watching somebody go for 10 minutes because I don't know what they're saying and I'm not going to listen. So make sure that you write some kind of summary or explanation of what you're talking about in the text. It doesn't have to be word for word if you're talking for a long time, but let's say you're announcing like, hi guys, I am going to be at this Christmas market selling my macrame. I would love to see you there. It's on December 10th from 9 to 11:30 a.m. Maybe the text that you actually put there is just Christmas market, December 10th, 9 to 11:30 a.m. would love to see you there. But that's actually communicating what you're saying, and then whoever is seeing it that's not listening to audio still might actually come to your market, even though they were part of the 90% of people that were not listening to whatever you're saying. This is probably one of the most important tips I have, so write this down, commit it to memory, never make an Instagram story again where you're filming yourself talking and have no captions. Mistake number 7, and this is probably the easiest one to fix, and that is posting way too many stories at once and not spreading them out at all. I think it's important to have a good story to keep people engaged and to stay kind of at the front of the list when it comes to Instagram stories, to be posting throughout the day if possible. If you post all of your videos at one point, then you kind of like get in that queue for the stories, and then as more people post in front of you, you're just gonna keep getting buried. So if somebody logs on even an hour after you posted, you might not be the most recent person to come up, and then your stories for them will just never be seen. You're much more likely to pop up in more people's stories feed during the day if you keep posting throughout. Every time you post a stories, it gives you a chance to bump to that front of the line again, so keep trying to post throughout the day rather than dumping all of your posts on at one time. And those are the top 7 mistakes that I see on Instagram stories. Let me know in the comments below if you've been guilty of these, if you're gonna change it up. I know we've all done it. It's just important for us to always keep improving and keep growing so that we can be the best social media creators that we can be. If you like this video, you'll probably like this one that I made all about how you can grow your following this week. I've got some super practical tips over there that I'm sure you're gonna love. But before you head over to that video, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future videos, and hit the notification bell while you're at it so you really don't miss them. I upload twice a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a single one. As always, I hope that you are having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!